in your work environment, depending on your 25-foot radius, if you're with a high performer or a low performer, your productivity will either increase or decrease by 15%. Let's talk about a person's environment. Does it really matter if your environment really does affect you? Do you think that's true? You think is it the people you generally surround yourself in your life?
I think looking at the study, they're specifically looking at in-office experience. That's why they're looking at it within a certain radius of where you work and who are you engaging with. For us, we work kind of remotely or somewhat semi-remotely. Probably the way to look at that would be who are you engaging with on a consistent basis, because that becomes your work environment. So either of the two, it comes down to the individuals in your environment and kind of looking at that. It reminds me a lot of that topic or the quote that we've said before. You are the average of the 5 individuals you hang out with the most. And for a lot of individuals, people that they hang out with the most will be their coworkers. And so if you're around a bunch of individuals that are high performers, in most cases, they're going to bring you up. If you're one of the individuals that's probably the higher performer, then that group's going to end up bringing you down. But by default, you'll bring them up ideally a little bit. In each of those groups, it kind of depends who's the air quote toxic one and who's the air quote productive one in that area, because not everyone's going to be, at the same level. So someone is going to be pulling and someone's going to be pushing kind of the group forward or a little bit backwards to creating that average. Going back to the general question, does workplace matter? Absolutely matters. And I think that goes back to even one of the topics we talked about in our first episode and why we even started doing this. I was up here living on a little island in Seattle, not actually a little island, a more, metaphoric island, but I was going crazy. Yeah, I was going crazy. I didn't have the individuals to talk different ideas about or, go back and forth with things, where it was just me in my own head trying to figure things out. And when I was able to expand that group and actually start having conversations about things again, I found myself to be more productive. And I would probably say I'm a very efficient, productive individual. But without some of those other pieces there, I kind of went stir crazy and was starting to go in circles.
Snap.
What about you? What are your thoughts when it comes to productivity and the environment around you?
So I thought of it in 2 point of views, like at work, because we still have to go in office. I 100% agree. I feel like I'm in office at 3, and we're all very strong, and we're really good on picking up each other's weaknesses. So with that, yeah, I felt my productivity as a whole, not just like outputs, let's just say like soft skills, has helped me. One's a little bit more patient. I am very impatient sometimes when I need to get stuff done. So he rubbed off on mine. I'm more OCD, clinically detailed, and we just had talk shops, and his clinical skill set has been increasing as well, and I've been noticing it. So it goes both ways, especially with my boss that comes in the office here and there. Like he roams around our 3 different facilities, and just having him around elevates my skill set, because crap, I got to be that level. But I also thought of it as I already have this drive to get better, but it was more energy draining on my end to say I have to be self-involved. When I worked by myself, like in a high school, you're for sure on an island, no talk shops, no one else to bounce ideas off of. Being by yourself, it was more draining mentally, physically, just to get I gotta learn more, I gotta do more, than having the osmosis effect where you're just having things and you just kind of, their energy kind of matches yours and they boost you up. So I thought of it those 2 point of views, is that I don't think an individual is saying, hey, they can't be good on their own, but it is draining.
Kind of reminds me of the different types of motivation. It could be push motivated or pull motivated. When you're by yourself, it's a lot of push motivation, right? Mm-hmm. Like you are the one that has to initiate to create that momentum. When you have other individuals around you that in a way can bring you up, it's a little bit of a pull motivation, right? You're not the one that's solely responsible for kind of keeping that momentum going, because you see these other individuals around you where you kind of almost feel pulled towards that higher efficiency, productivity, output, ideas, all of that kind of stuff. I think that's what kind of triggered in my mind when you said that last statement.
Yeah, I think even though you're indirectly, you're not even working them directly, you're just kind of observing. Let's just say for, wow, they called 10 clients and I only called five. We're in the same exact environment. What's going on with me? And then you learn by watching sometimes. And let's just say like maybe he's not on his phone for an additional 10 minutes or something like that, and they're able to pop up the calls. Um, when I read this, I kind of thought about the pursuit of happiness. When there's a call, like I can optimize my calls if I don't drink water or do something that makes me not go to the bathroom 3 times, maybe twice a day, and that will give me at least a five extra more calls. And if you watch it, I'm like, crap. And let's just say you're just a third party just observing this guy, and you're like, huh, maybe that's why he does more calls than me. It's just it's you don't know the person, but you just watch, and that's where you're like, oh crap. Where I feel like the osmosis effect kicks in on for this study.
I think with some of those things that you had talked about, it almost reminds me also is you're able to find out, like if you're on your own little island, in most cases, you're going to try to work harder. When you
Mm-hmm.
have other individuals that are a little bit higher performing, they unlock the ability to sometimes work smarter. And that's where like the true unlocking is because you can try to go harder to just try to get that same output, or you find shortcuts and ways to become more efficient.
Yeah. What was it? So my boss would pick his brain very high, like IQ of in the clinical setting. Something I would do in 3 steps, you do in one. I was like, crap. So yeah, that efficiency based like I know what I'm doing. Just kind of watch and learn. That just the term watching and learning. A lot of people just don't have that. I feel like they don't. I feel like they know everything, and probably it speaks when I hear my dad when I say that. You feel like you know everything. I'm like, crap, I don't. But then watching and just learning, even you just seeing how you operated when we lived together was totally different. Oh crap, there's a difference. So, huh? I I think that's a great tie-in on just everything right now.